Hi everybody and welcome to another Watercolor Wednesday episode. Today I am going to be showing you how to paint this beautiful forest. I saw an image of this painting on Instagram. I will link, or not link, but I'll provide the Instagram handle of the original artist. I just had to try it out and paint it for myself, so I'm just showing my process of how I painted it. So if you would like to join in, then grab your supplies and let's get right into it. So the first thing I did is I just sketched out my mug with a pencil, making sure that it's light enough to not show through the watercolor, but dark enough so that I could still see the outline. And then I took blue mixed with a little bit of black to create sort of a navy blue, and I filled in the entire cup, including the handle, but I tried to leave this one section that stretches from the top right corner downwards towards the left in sort of an S shape. I tried to leave that lighter because I filled it in with white watercolor in an attempt to create a galaxy pattern. Now the first layer doesn't matter as much, just because we're going to be going over it with a second layer, so if it doesn't look very good, that's okay. Just make sure you have the general pattern down. You can also sprinkle on some white watercolor on to create a starry shape, but again, that part you can actually probably skip that part because we are going to be painting on a second layer. So once that first layer is completely dry, and you do want to make sure that it is dry, otherwise it won't be as opaque, your second layer won't be as opaque, you want to take a darker blue. So not necessarily that the blue is darker, but you just add a lot more black watercolor to the blue to create quite an intense navy blue color. And you just want to go over your entire cup with this dark navy blue color, making sure to follow a similar pattern to the first layer. So again, we're taking that white watercolor and creating an S shape, a wavy S shape stretching from the top right corner down to the bottom left. And you can even take a small brush, as I'm doing here, just to assist you in filling in the rim of the cup as well as the handle. Once that has completely dried, I took some white acrylic paint that was watered down and just flicked it onto the cup in order to create the effect of stars and make it look like a starry night galaxy sky. The reason why I put that paper towel on the top is because I didn't want any of the acrylic paint to get onto that part, since we're still going to be painting over that in watercolor, and if there's acrylic paint that's already dried in that section, your watercolor is not going to stick to the paper. I also took a super duper thin brush. I'm using my quadruple zero Winsor & Newton brush, linked in the description should you wish to purchase it, and I'm using that brush to create some exaggerated twinkling stars, just to add another layer of detail to the mug. So once your mug has completely dried and you're completely satisfied with it, we can start the fun part. I just think it's the most adorable thing ever. We're going to be painting a forest that is sprouting out of the mug. So the way that I did it is I took brown watercolor and just painted on a trunk that stretched from the bottom to the top, and making sure that I made the trunk line thinner at the top, just because we don't want it to show through as much, since a pine tree naturally is super thin at the top and it just kind of fans out as it gets closer to the bottom. And if you are having trouble with painting pine trees, I did release a tutorial that went over 4 different techniques to paint pine trees, so I'll link that in the description of this video in the top right corner if I remember to do so. But in that video I go into much more depth on how to paint pine trees, and it's also a lot slower and easier to follow along, so maybe watch that video first before doing this forested part. So you basically want to just fill in as many of those pine trees as you like. I wanted mine to be sort of dense, and then I even added in some bare trunks that didn't have any greenery on them. And once those had dried, I took super watered down yellow mixed with brown and just filled in that top cup portion. Finally, I wanted my cup to stand out a little bit more, so I went ahead and took some of that navy blue color and the dark navy blue color, and I just outlined the upper rim of the cup as well as the bottom of the cup and the handle of the cup, and this just creates an illusion of a shadow, so it makes it look a little bit more 3D. And it makes it pop a little bit more. Totally optional, but I just really liked that extra detail. Once that had completely dried, I took my white acrylic paint again and my super thin brush, and I just created some highlighted details along the portions that I added that extra shadow. So the top rim, the handle, and then 3 vertical lines on sort of the left portion of the cup, just to make it look like there was light reflecting off of it. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in next week's tutorial.